Excuses are the language of the weak. The moment you stop justifying mediocrity is the moment discipline takes root. You don't need sympathy, you need standards. You see, the lazy mind is a master of disguise. It hides behind phrases like, "I'll start tomorrow," "I'm just not motivated," or "I've been through a lot lately." And while those may sound like reasons, what they really are permission slips. Permission to stay small, permission to stay average, permission to delay your own destiny. But let me tell you something, and I want you to hear this deep. Laziness is not a circumstance, it's a decision. You don't destroy laziness with good feelings or perfect conditions. You destroy it with standards, with a code, with an internal law that says, "This is who I am now, and this is what I do, regardless of how I feel." The problem isn't that people aim too high and miss. No, the real tragedy is that most people aim low and hit. They build a lifestyle that allows them to escape responsibility. They call it self-care, but it's really self-sabotage. They call it rest, but it's really avoidance. And what starts as comfort becomes a cage. Let me give it to you straight. You cannot escape the pain, either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. That choice is yours. One puts fire in your eyes and power in your stride. The other will haunt you at night. Because when you lie in bed knowing you didn't give your best, that's a kind of suffering no pill, no distraction, no weekend getaway can fix. And here's the real kicker: no one is coming. That dream you have, that version of you hope to become, that's not going to show up because someone gave you a break. It's going to show up when you do. When you decide to rise earlier. When you refuse to negotiate with your excuses. When you stop trying to feel better and start trying to be better. Laziness is not just about lying on the couch. It's also about mental laziness. It's ignoring the books that challenge your thinking. It's turning away from growth because it feels like too much work. But here's the truth. Success is earned by the person willing to do the things that others refuse. It's not about talent, it's about toughness. It's about discipline. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard. Inconvenient and unrewarded. People ask me all the time, "Jim, how do I get motivated?" And I say, you don't. You get motivated. Action breeds motivation, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel ready, you train yourself to be ready. Because life doesn't stop and wait for you to catch up. And the marketplace only rewards value. Not potential, not good intentions, value. So ask yourself, are your habits valuable? Is your routine worthy of success? If the answer is no, then you've got your marching orders. Change today, right now, one discipline at a time, one promise kept at a time. You don't need 10 steps. You need one step taken 10 times, 100 times until it becomes your new nature. And when you finally do that, when you stop building your weaknesses and start building your strengths, something powerful happens. You earn your confidence. You no longer need hype. You've got history, you've got a track record, and suddenly laziness isn't even an option anymore. It's a memory, a ghost, something the old version of you used to cling to, but not anymore. Because now your life is a reflection of standards, not excuses, of action, not apology, of discipline, not delay. So the next time laziness comes knocking, you don't answer the door. You're too busy working, too busy rising, too busy becoming. Comfort is the enemy of growth, that old version of you. The one that hits the snooze button, that reaches for the remote before reaching for the book. That version of you is loyal to comfort. And make no mistake, comfort is seductive. It whispers in your ear, "You've earned a break." It pats you on the back and says, "You've done enough." But let me ask you this. What has comfort ever built? Comfort has never sculpted a strong mind. It's never built a business, raised a fortune, or carved out a legacy. Comfort is where dreams go to sleep. And if you're not careful, you'll rock yourself to sleep in the cradle of ease, while your potential withers in silence. You see, the path to transformation demands a different addiction, an addiction to growth. Not pleasure, not ease, growth. And growth is inconvenient. It interrupts your habits. It demands your attention. It forces you to confront your weakness, not excuse it. That's why most people avoid it. It's painful, but here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Growth is pain well spent. It's pain with a purpose. That old version of you, that version that loves comfort, will fight this new standard. It'll beg you for just one more hour of rest, just one more scroll, just one more day of waiting. But understand this, the longer you feed that version of yourself, the longer you delay becoming the version that commands success. That version that walks with strength, speaks with clarity, and executes with fire, that version doesn't live in comfort. It lives in discipline. It lives in sacrifice. It lives in those early hours when everyone else is sleeping and you're building it. I've often said, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. And that wish, that desire to become better, starts by doing the hard things on purpose. Because if you don't choose the pain of growth, you'll inherit the pain of regret. And regret is far heavier than discipline ever was. Think about it. The successful, the wealthy, the exceptional, they don't crave ease, they crave challenge. They put pressure on themselves on purpose. They create discomfort in their lives through high standards, tight routines, difficult decisions, because they know pressure builds power. So ask yourself, what comforts are holding you back? Is it the comfort of sleeping late? The comfort of putting things off until tomorrow? The comfort of cheap entertainment over quality education? Be honest, because until you declare war on comfort, you'll never unlock your capacity. You have to flip the script. You must start training your mind to seek what's hard. Wake up early. Not because it feels good, but because it strengthens you. Push yourself in the gym, not because you love it, but because it disciplines your spirit. Pick up that book, make that call. Study that craft, not because it's easy, but because it stretches your mind. That's where the growth is. It's not in feeling better, it's in becoming better. And here's the beautiful part. When you embrace growth over comfort long enough, it changes you. The hard things don't just become manageable, they become your preference. You begin to associate effort with elevation, and suddenly the easy path doesn't attract you anymore, it disgusts you. So burn this into your thinking. If it doesn't challenge you, it can't change you. You don't rise by relaxing, you rise by rejecting the lazy voice inside and replacing it with purpose. Destroy laziness by choosing growth every time. And remember, comfort may keep you safe, but only challenge can make you strong. If you want freedom, master discipline. Now, most people misunderstand this. They think freedom is waking up whenever they want, doing what feels good, skipping the hard stuff, indulging every impulse. But I'll tell you, that's not freedom. That's slavery to comfort. That's not liberty. That's limitation. The person who can't get up early, who can't say no to a craving, who can't follow through on a plan, they're not free. They're chained, not by someone else, but by themselves. Real freedom is the ability to say no to what doesn't serve you. Real freedom is being able to look temptation in the eye and say, not today. That kind of power doesn't come from chance, it comes from discipline. And discipline doesn't restrict your life, it unlocks your life. It gives you control over your time, your mind, your energy, and your outcomes. And once you gain control, you gain options, you gain movement. That's freedom. Let me tell you something. Discipline is the foundation of all achievement. It's what allows you to start and finish, to commit and to follow through, to wake up on purpose instead of drifting through life on accident. The undisciplined man is always reacting. The disciplined man is always creating. One is tossed by the wind, the other moves it. You see, discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect in motion. When you practice discipline, you're telling yourself, I matter, my goals matter, my future matters. And when you live like your future matters, you begin to behave like someone who deserves more. And the world has a strange way of responding to that kind of behavior, with opportunity. You don't stumble into freedom, you build it, you construct it with your daily habits. You lay the foundation by sticking to what you said you'd do, by choosing effort over excuse, by choosing structure over chaos. Freedom, true freedom, comes when you can trust yourself to get things done, with or without applause, with or without motivation. Let me give you a picture. The man without discipline may eat what he wants, sleep as long as he pleases, spend money recklessly, and it feels like freedom. But it leads to sickness, regret, debt. On the other hand, the man who disciplines himself, he eats clean, manages his money, uses his time wisely. Maybe it feels rigid in the moment, but in the long run, he becomes a master of his life. He has health, he has wealth, he has peace. That's freedom. Most people avoid discipline because they think it costs too much. But I'll tell you, the price of discipline is pennies compared to the cost of regret. You either pay now in sweat or you pay later in sorrow. That's the deal. And every day you're making that trade, whether you realize it or not. Freedom is not found in the absence of responsibility. It's found in your ability to carry it. When you start to see discipline as a gift, not a burden, that's when everything changes. That's when the lazy version of yourself begins to die. That's when a new version starts to rise, the version that earns freedom by deserving it. So let me challenge you. Earn your freedom, not by waiting for the perfect moment, not by complaining about your circumstances, but by mastering yourself. The more you master you, the less the world can control you. And isn't that what you want? Destroy laziness. Kill the weak version. Replace it with a disciplined one. Then stand tall in the freedom you built. Because no one gave it to you, you earned it. Every weak choice has a cost, and it's not always a cost you feel right away. That's what makes it dangerous. You skip one workout, no big deal. You hit snooze one morning, feels harmless. You spend an extra hour scrolling, tell yourself you'll get to your goals tomorrow. And the world doesn't punish you. But let me tell you something. The clock is always ticking. The tab is always running. And life always collects. Weak choices are like termites in the foundation of your life. Small, silent, unseen, but over time, they'll rot your dreams from the inside out. You won't notice it at first, until one day, the structure you were building collapses. Not from one mistake, but from 1,000 little compromises you thought didn't matter. Let me be clear, every decision is a vote for the future you're building. Every time you skip what you said you'd do, you're voting for the weaker version of you, the undisciplined one, the one who settles, the one who talks but never walks. And those votes add up. One day you look in the mirror and realize you've become someone you never meant to be. Not because of one giant failure, but because of small, quiet, daily choices that robbed you of your potential. You see, the price of a weak choice isn't just time. It's your identity. It's your confidence. It's your momentum. Every time you lie to yourself, break your word, or retreat from challenge, you teach your subconscious, I can't be trusted. And once you believe that, discipline becomes impossible. You must start choosing with your future in mind. Not your feelings, your future. The man who lives by emotion will always serve the man who lives by vision. Don't make decisions based on what feels good now. Make decisions based on who you want to become. Discipline is when you say, I'm tired, but I still train. I'm tempted, but I stay on course. I'm afraid, but I still act. That's how the strong are built. Not in perfect conditions, but in pressure, in resistance, in repetition. Let me tell you something. Weakness is not something you're born with. It's something you tolerate. You feed it by your habits. You keep it alive by your excuses. And the moment you stop feeding it, it begins to die. But it dies slowly, and while it dies, it fights. It'll whisper, just once. It won't hurt. You deserve a break. That voice will sound like your friend. It's not. It's the part of you that wants to stay the same. And it'll cost you everything. Because you don't get wealthy by wishing. You don't become strong by hoping. You get there by choosing over and over again, with intention, with focus, with discipline. You get there by killing weakness in the moment it shows up. So here's the rule. no weak choices. Not because they're wrong, but because they're expensive. They cost you time, energy, confidence, momentum, respect, and you can't afford that. Not if you're serious about building a new life. Start asking yourself with every decision, does this build me or break me? And if it breaks you, reject it, no matter how small, because every action is shaping you into something stronger or something weaker. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about stacking enough right decisions until they become your identity, until one day the weak version of you can't even recognize who you've become. Make the stronger choice every time. That's how you rise. You can't think your way out of laziness, you act your way out. The secret to killing laziness isn't some grand epiphany, it's motion. You've got to get moving. You've got to stand up and take the first step no matter how small it feels, because motion creates momentum, and momentum destroys hesitation. Now, most people live in this trap. They think if they sit around long enough, some magical motivation will strike them like lightning. But let me ask you, how often does lightning show up when you need it? Almost never. That's not how success works. That's not how growth works. That's not how discipline works. The world doesn't hand energy to those who wait. It hands energy to those who move. The man who waits to feel ready will be waiting for the rest of his life. The mind has a funny way of talking you out of action. It'll say, let's do it tomorrow. Let's wait for the perfect time. Let's research just a little more. And in all that waiting, life passes you by. You don't rise by overthinking. You rise by doing. Let me tell you something simple but powerful. Your feet can teach your brain. That means if you get up and move, even when you don't feel like it, the mind eventually catches up. You take one step and something shifts. You start building belief. You take another and now you've got a little rhythm. That rhythm becomes drive. Drive becomes discipline. Discipline becomes a new identity. But none of that happens until you move. And here's the key. Start ugly. Start messy. Start with your hands shaking and your heart racing if you have to. Just don't wait. The trap of laziness is always decorated with the words, I'll start when I feel better, when I'm more motivated, when things calm down. But you and I both know that's not a plan. That's a stall tactic from the weaker version of you. Do something, anything, that breaks the pattern. Clean your space, do 10 push-ups, open the book, map the goal. It doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be in motion. You'll find that once you move your body, the mind follows. And that's when you begin to take your power back. You see, action builds clarity. Action builds belief. Action builds energy. I've always said affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. Don't sit around saying positive things to yourself if you're not willing to follow through. That's fantasy. And fantasy never paid a single bill. But action, that builds a life, that builds a legacy. Laziness grows in silence and isolation. It doesn't need noise to thrive. It just needs you alone, disconnected and drifting. That's the breeding ground. That's where the seed of sloth takes root. You lie there scrolling, overthinking, making deals with your comfort, and before you know it, the hours turn into days and your dreams are buried beneath the soft pillow of excuses. But it's not just the silence. It's who's around you, or more importantly, who isn't. You surround yourself with lazy people and you will rot in comfort. That's the truth. Sit around with those who avoid work, dodge responsibility, live for entertainment, and slowly they'll pull you into their world. A world where later is the favorite word, a world where big dreams are mocked and small habits are ignored. Let me give it to you straight. You don't rise in the company of decline. You rise when you get around people who are builders, people who are going somewhere. You need to be around those who are doing something with their lives, movers, readers, doers. These are the ones who make you feel the weight of your own excuses. They don't even have to say much. Their presence alone becomes a mirror, a challenge, a reminder of who you could be. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now ask yourself, what are those 5 people doing with their lives? Are they pushing you or are they pacifying you? Are they challenging your discipline or comforting your laziness? Because energy is contagious. So is drive. so is excellence. And yes, so is mediocrity. You see, laziness is not just a personal flaw. It's a social disease. It infects your mind through conversation. It slips into your routine through shared habits. That's why you've got to audit your circle. You've got to cut off the drainers and plug into the chargers. If you hang out with 4 lazy people, don't be surprised when you become the 5th. So, where's the solution? Get around winners. Winners aren't perfect, but they move, they act, they get things done. They don't sit around analyzing every fear. They step into the fire and figure it out. They don't talk about ideas, they execute them. You need that kind of environment. One that breathes accountability, one that forces you to stretch, one that refuses to let you settle. And you don't even need access to billionaires or celebrities. There are books, there are lectures, there are mentors in disguise all around you. People at the gym before the sun rises, co-workers who grind quietly, online communities full of fire. Plug into something that demands more from you. That's where laziness dies. The secret isn't just inside of you, it's around you. Structure your environment so that the weak version of you can't survive in it. If you're trying to break free from laziness, but you're surrounded by slackers, it's like trying to run a marathon in a swamp. You won't make it far. But if you plant yourself in an environment of motion, you'll begin to match its pace. So let me ask you, who's in your ear? Who's shaping your standards? Who's setting the temperature of your life? If you want to kill laziness, change your environment, change your inputs, change your associations. Because laziness cannot breathe in the presence of purpose. Every morning, there's a battle waiting at the edge of your bed. Before your feet hit the floor, the weak version of you rises first. He whispers, "Sleep a little longer. You'll start tomorrow." And you deserve a break. And if you're not ready, if you're not armed with purpose, that voice will win, and if it wins today, it gets stronger tomorrow. That's how mediocrity survives, by sneaking into your mornings when you're still half asleep and stealing the rest of your life. So what do? You slay it. You wake up with fire. You beat the weak you before he even has a chance to speak. Because if you don't kill the old you every morning, he'll kill your discipline, he'll kill your vision, he'll kill your dream. You've got to start your day on offense, not defense. No more dragging yourself into the day like it's a punishment. No more scrolling through someone else's life before you've even touched your own. When the alarm rings, you rise with intention. You speak to yourself like a warrior preparing for battle. Not today, weakness. Today belongs to the strong me, the focused me, the disciplined me. And it doesn't take a miracle. It takes a routine, a structure, a non-negotiable morning standard. Read something that fuels your mind, move your body, review your goal. Begin with gratitude. Why? Because weak men drift, but strong men direct. They don't leave the tone of their day to chance, they set it. And they defend it like their future depends on it, because it does. People talk about transformation like it's one big moment, one breakthrough, one life-changing decision. But let me tell you, it's not. True change is a repetition of small victories. And the first victory is the hardest, getting up and not listening to that weak inner voice. If you can win that, you can win the day. And then at night, you reflect. You don't just end the day, you close it. You take inventory. Did I act like the man I want to become? Did I do what needed to be done, not what I felt like doing? Did I silence the weak self today? That's how pride is earned, not from applause, not from trophies, but from the quiet knowing I showed up for my life today. And then guess what? You do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that, until you've buried the weak you so deep, he doesn't even show up anymore. He gets tired of losing. He retreats. And the strong you, the disciplined, consistent, focused you, becomes the new identity. But don't be fooled. He'll try to come back. He always does. On the lazy days, the tired days, the stormy days. That's why you need the habit. That's why you need the routine. That's why you need the mindset of a daily executioner. Slay the weak you every single morning, and soon the strong version of yourself will become permanent. So tomorrow, when the sun rises, don't wake up with hope, wake up with command. Don't look for motivation. Look in the mirror and say, today the weak version dies again. Because that's how champions are made. Not once, but daily. And if you can win that war in the morning, you can win your life. The truth is, the only real limit in your life is you. It's easy to blame the economy, to blame your boss, to blame your upbringing or your past. It's easy to look outward and find excuses for why you're not where you want to be. But here's the hard truth. Nothing outside of you is holding you back. Not your circumstances, not your environment, and certainly not other people. The only thing standing between you and your future is your own unwillingness to act. The limit is always internal. It's always in the mind. You have the power to change your life, but only when you take full responsibility for the decisions you've made and the actions you've taken, or the lack thereof. When you look at your life and see what's missing, what's lacking, or what's not going right, don't point your finger at the world. Point it back at yourself. Ask, what could I have done differently? What action could I have taken that I didn't? What discipline could I have followed that I didn't? Because the moment you stop blaming the outside world for your circumstances is the moment you step into your true power. The moment you stop making excuses is the moment you take control of your destiny. When you realize that everything that happens to you is a result of your choices, your habits, and your mindset, that's when everything changes. Too many people are waiting for the right opportunity to come knocking at their door. They're waiting for the world to open up to them, for the economy to improve, or for the perfect situation to present itself. Let me tell you something. That's not how it works. Opportunities don't wait for you to feel ready. They're out there, but only those who are ready to act, ready to take control, and ready to break through their own limits will find them. Look in the mirror. The person staring back at you is the only one standing in your way. Once you destroy your lazy self, the self that makes excuses, the self that says, I'll do it tomorrow, the self that prefers comfort over discipline, the path to success becomes wide open. The road clears, the distractions fade, and you realize the only thing holding you back is your own refusal to act. You've got to stop waiting for someone else to change your life. You're the one with the power. You're the one with the ability to decide. The person who will either keep you stuck or move you forward is the person you see every day in the mirror. And when you take that person and say, enough, everything changes. You take the reins and you steer your life wherever you choose. But here's the challenge. The lazy version of you doesn't give up easily. It's sneaky. It tells you stories. It convinces you that it's too late or it'll be too hard or maybe you're just not cut out for it. But that's a lie. You were made for more than that. You were made to win, to overcome, to break through those self-imposed limits. It starts by simply deciding, I am no longer the person who makes excuses. I am no longer the person who waits. I will act. I will move. I will succeed. And when you start taking action, even small steps, you break the chain of limitation that's been holding you back. Every small act of discipline, every decision to stop making excuses, every step forward takes you closer to the person you were meant to be. It's not about one giant leap. It's about consistently making the right choices, day in and day out. Once you destroy that lazy version of yourself, the world starts to respond differently. Things begin to fall into place, and you start attracting opportunities you never imagined possible. But they only come to those who are ready to take action, to those who refuse to stay stuck in their own limitations. The real power in life comes from within. You are the limit breaker. You are the one who holds the key to your future. So stop waiting for the outside world to change and start changing your inner world. When you destroy laziness, when you destroy excuses, when you destroy that self-doubt, you will realize the only real limit is the one you set for yourself. And that limit, you can shatter it. The choice is yours. Now, I want you to take a moment and think about what I've shared with you today. I want you to look at your life not through the lens of blame, but through the lens of responsibility. The truth is, you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your own life, the creator of your own success. If you want to destroy laziness, if you want to break through your limits and reach your full potential, it starts with a decision. It starts with a commitment to stop waiting, stop making excuses, and stop blaming the world. It starts with deciding that you will no longer accept mediocrity. You will no longer allow laziness to dictate your future. The only thing stopping you is you. And that stops today. I know it's not easy. I know the temptations are strong, the distractions are everywhere, and the excuses are plentiful. But let me remind you of this. Anything worth having in this life comes with effort, with discipline, and with an unwavering commitment to growth. It's easy to be lazy, to take the easy route, to take shortcuts. But let me ask you this, how has that served you so far? How has it built your future? The answer is simple. It hasn't. And that's why you're here today, to make a change, to stop giving in to the comfort of laziness, to start making real progress, to start becoming the person you know you are meant to be. The moment you decide to take control of your actions, you take control of your life. The moment you stop making excuses, you start seeing the world open up in ways you never thought possible. The road ahead is not easy, but it is simple. It is the road of discipline, of action, of personal responsibility. The person who takes that road is the person who will become successful, the person who will attract the wealth, the health, the relationships, and the life they've always dreamed of. But here's the catch. This is not a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment. Every day you have to wake up and choose discipline. You have to choose to stop procrastinating and start doing. And as you do this, as you build momentum, as you make progress, you will look back one day and realize that the life you've always dreamed of wasn't just a dream. It was a result of the choices you made every single day. So I challenge you, starting today, to take responsibility for your life. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming the world. Start choosing discipline, start choosing action, and never look back. The person you've been waiting for is the person you see in the mirror. Stop waiting for someone else to change your life. It's time for you to step up, take charge, and destroy the lazy version of yourself. Your future is in your hands. The world is waiting for you to rise. Are you ready to do the work? Are you ready to stop being weak? Are you ready to destroy the laziness that's held you back for so long? If you are, then today is the day you start. The time to act is now. Your future is counting on it.